In the 80s, if you were a musician or a songwriter wanting to record a song or two, your options were kind of limited financially speaking. So today, you can record an entire album, a whole bunch of songs, with a studio that costs a few $100. But in the 80s, you would need to spend, $1,000, like on a Tascam 144 4-track cassette. And then you would still need reverb and compression and so you're probably want to record at a professional recording studio instead. In 1980, I chose to purchase a used TIAC A2340S, a 1/4-inch reel-to-reel that had RCA jacks on the back that you could do a basic mix into like a stereo cassette recorder. Still no proper mixing board or reverb compressor, etc. But it worked for me at the time because I learned how to use simulsync, THD, total harmonic distortion. I learned what crosstalk was, and so on. And this kind of worked for me since during the early 80s, music was fading away. Now that I kind of found, a little bit of freedom, from not being in a band anymore. And I began training with weights, started weightlifting. That took more of a front seat in my life, anyway, at that time. And if you look at some of these pictures from the 1980s, it wasn't a bad idea. I was, still am. I'm getting older, so I'm about 6 feet tall. But back then I was 6'1". I weighed 125 pounds, and I kind of weightlift off and on. And by the year 2000, I weighed about 205 pounds, and I think I looked really good at the time. And anyway, during the 1980s, I had various jobs, and things were pretty crazy. 1985, I got married in 86, and my oldest son was born in 1987, and life kind of got real crazy, like it does for many people when you're, beginning adult life. And that's all I did through the whole song. I thought it was kind of an interesting thing anyway. So that was kind of the 1970s going into the 1980s. So the 1980s didn't leave a whole lot of time for music anyway. And those of you that were into recording music in the late 1980s found that options were getting a little bit better, slightly cheaper. And by the late 1980s, after selling my reel-to-reel, I purchased a TIAC, or I think it was considered Tascam, 488 8-track machine. And at that time, I also had a Fostex 3180 reverb unit. That was my first piece of recording gear. Digital recording was in its infancy and began to arrive a little bit. MIDI was kind of complicated for me, you'd have to assign sounds to channels, clocking and recording to tape machine by computer and so on, and latency was also kind of a big problem for computers. However, home recording options were getting much better by the 1990s. So, you know, we'll kind of jump into the 1990s in a bit here, but here's another music break. Anyways, thanks so much, and stay tuned for the 1990s. We'll be in the next episode coming real soon. So thanks so much. Don't forget to subscribe and hit a like, and thanks again.